Ghana and Rwanda are two of the most visited countries for Nigerian travelers. Ghana is less than 500 kilometers away and visa-free, while Rwanda is a visa-free country doing amazing things on the continent. This video is a controversial comparison for you to decide which of these countries to visit. Traveling within Africa as a Nigerian is easier said than done. Before you go somewhere, your country's reputation precedes you, and negative stereotypes harm our experiences as travelers, while positive stereotypes do even more damage in my opinion. Most people think Nigerians have money. Oh, you are Nigerian, give me money, you must give me money. So being able to go to somewhere like Accra, Ghana, where you do not have to apply for a visa, Ghanaians are pretty used to Nigerians, is always a welcome development. Over the last few years, Kigali went from being visa on arrival to being visa free, and there aren't many countries where Nigerians can just wake up and say, I want to go to this country today with direct flights. So Rwanda and Ghana are quite popular destinations, but which should you visit 2025? There aren't many countries where I would say I feel at home, but Ghana is one of the places where I usually say that when I'm there, I feel at home. That used to be the case more in the last few years, but all the people that made me feel at home in Ghana have moved out. Well, almost all of them. So I go to Ghana less these days. Some of my favorite people are Ghanaians, and I'm lucky to have them in my life. Ghana was also the first country I ever visited in 2018, and it's the country I visited the most in my life. For some reason, Ghana is always there, and even if I don't plan to go there, something always draws me back. If you are coming from a country where you might not have access to the ocean, or a city where you don't have access to the ocean, you're coming from somewhere that is cold, then Accra is it for you, because you get the beach vibes. Caribbean in Africa, the people love to party, they're amazing people, English speaking country. It has everything I feel like you would need if you are going for a short vacation. And Ghanaians are generally chill people. You might get questions, oh, where are you from, blah blah, but more often than not, very chill people are my people. My first time visiting Rwanda was in 2024, and I must say that this country shocked me for all the right reasons. Traveling within Africa, beyond the stereotypes and judgments, you can almost always expect corruption. From the moment you are living in Nigeria, oh brother, show us love, this and that, everybody's trying to get something from you. But Rwanda is the only country I've been to where I did not witness any corruption. Almost 0% corruption. I know 0% is not possible. People always said it's Africa's cleanest city, and I was always skeptical, but it truly is. I went there, and yeah, they talk the talk and they walk the walk. The people were also very calm and minded their business. I didn't stay in like an hotel, I stayed with friends, and I thought they were trying to avoid me because I was a foreigner, and then I realized that there was a language barrier that I never knew existed. Kigali is somewhere I would go to if I make a lot of money and I want to stay on the continent. It has a very laid back vibe. You can just chill in your own corner in a safe and conducive country. So if that's what you're looking for, then Kigali is definitely worth considering. If you are enjoying the video, then consider subscribing to our channel and possibly liking the video. Thank you. Next up, we'll talk about people, social life, and languages in Ghana. As mentioned earlier, Ghana is an English speaking country, and if English is the only language you speak, then you are in luck. You do not necessarily need to learn another local or international language to be able to get around within the cities. At least there are local languages that people speak daily, such as Twi, but don't get me wrong, Twi isn't the only local language. It's just the one that comes to mind more often than not. As a tourist or visitor, you don't necessarily need to learn how to speak it. Accra is one of my favorite lifestyle capitals on the continent. There's a lot to do. The people are vibrant, they're exciting, they're ready to party, and a bit crazy if you ask me. Ghanaians almost always brag about being the best English speakers on the continent alongside their Kenyan brethren, but you know, who cares? Jokes apart, Ghanaians are great people more often than not. Next up, people, culture, social life in Rwanda. When I planned my trip to Rwanda, I always had this thought behind my head that Rwanda is an English speaking country, and I do not know why I had that thought, but I just always believed that was an English speaking country. Maybe it's because it's surrounded, not necessarily surrounded, but close to other English speaking countries. Imagine my surprise when I landed and I realized that, oh, English isn't widely spoken here. Don't get me wrong, if you are going on a tourism package, you are staying in the 5-star hotel doing all touristy stuff, everybody you meet will speak English to you because they learn English as part of their job. But if you're like me, living among the locals with a friend, spending some time there, you are going to be slightly frustrated when you realize that Kenya Rwanda is the lingua franca, and even people that speak English have Kenya Rwanda as their primary tongue. If you go out partying in Kigali, keep in mind that clubs are forced to close by 2 a.m. So from like 1:30 a.m., the clubs will start pushing everybody, because if the authorities come by 2 a.m., and they find them still operating, they're in trouble. Before visiting Ghana, you obviously need to know about the currency. Ghana's official currency is the cedis, and almost everything you do in the country would be with that currency. At the time I went to Ghana in 2024, it was $1 to 15 cedis, give or take. That was after the Africa Games, and it's been around that zone up and down for a while. But $1 to 15 cedis is like a good base point to do your calculations on. Ghana has decent roads. It could be better. Every country's roads could be better, but Ghana has decent roads, at least compared to Nigeria. But when compared to some East African countries, it leaves much to be desired. Unfortunately, Ghana does not have strong intercity rail connection, so if you are going anywhere else, you need to use buses or fly, and there is no metro in the capital city, so you might get stuck in traffic for a while. Africa World Airline is the biggest airline in the country, but that doesn't say much. They only have 2 international destinations in Nigeria as of December 2024. When I visited Rwanda, it was around $1 to 1,300 francs. The Rwandan franc is the official currency, and I believe the name is a hangover from the days where the French still controlled this territory. Rwanda has great road network. When I traveled to other East African countries, the roads were great, in my opinion. The roads were great, and throughout the routes to the border, there were street lights. So it felt like I was in the same city, to be honest. Unfortunately, Rwanda doesn't have strong or existent rail connections as of now, even though there have been plans to create some for a while. So if you are going to other countries, you are stuck using the great road network. But yeah, and neither does Kigali have a metro, so you also need to go around town using buses and motors. Rwanda Air has grown to become one of the largest airlines in Africa, with routes to almost every African zone: east, west, south, central. We are more than halfway through the video, and if you are still here, then you and I know that you are actually enjoying this video. So why don't you subscribe and like? Thank you. Another thing to keep in mind if you are choosing between Accra and Kigali is the weather. If you are Nigerian, then you should know that the weather in Lagos and Accra are almost identical as they can be. It is often very hot, quite humid, and very uncomfortable to live in if you don't have an AC. Let's just put it out there. I know what it feels like to be in such a climate because I grew up in such a climate. So if you are not into that, if you are from that and you're looking to escape, Accra may not work for you. But if you're from a very cold place and you just want to come and feel the sun for a couple days, then definitely visit Accra. Be prepared to dress light. You do not want to come with sweaters and winter jackets. You're going to pass out by the side of the road. There aren't many weather seasons in Ghana and most of coastal West Africa. There's the rainy season where it rains quite a bit. There's Ramadan, which is like very dry and dusty, and then there's the dry season. It's quite similar to Nigeria in most sense. If you are planning to visit Kigali and you have an acute allergy to elevation, then it might not be ideal for you, but it's not that bad. Kigali is 1.5 kilometers above sea level, more than 1,500 meters, so you can expect it to be a bit cold. The air is lighter than I was used to in West Africa, and Rwanda is literally known as the land of 1,000 hills. It's quite hilly, but for most people, 99.9%, you would not really feel any changes due to the elevation or adverse changes. It can get very cold at times, especially during the colder winter months and at night too, so you might want to keep that in mind with how you dress and what you take, and it depends on the time of the year you are going. The weather was very different, but I more than welcomed it. It was really hot in West Africa when I traveled, and I was excited that my phone wasn't overheating every second. But yeah, one thing that annoyed me were random rains. It's just out of nowhere, no warning signs, just start raining for a very long time, and then it felt very gloomy when it rained. Everywhere was just so dark, and I was like, I want to go outside. Support my channel by becoming a member or gifting super thanks. It means a lot and supports the work we do. If you go to Ghana, then you should not be stuck. Kumasi is the second largest city and definitely worth visiting if you have some time on you. Meanwhile, Cape Coast is another coastal town, but I'm urging you to visit to learn more about slavery's unpalatable history in West Africa. When you go to Kigali, you quickly realize that the city is quite small and you might do everything there is to do within a while. Other cities like Gisenyi are worth visiting, where you find the Kivu. If you have the finance and you're willing, then you do not have to choose between Accra or Kigali. You can do both. Let's say you are flying from Lagos. You can fly on Rwanda from Lagos to Accra with a stopover in Kigali. Make sure your stopover is extended for like a day or two and enjoy what the city has to offer, then continue our journey to Accra. It's a foolproof plan that should not fail. I created the next video with you in mind. You'll definitely enjoy it. Click the link. Until the next video, your friend from the Ukodo YouTube channel wishes you love, peace, and prosperity.